that a key associate of President Trump be held in contempt of Congress. Steve Bannon has refused to appear before the committee that is investigating January's attack on the Capitol. Well, let's go straight to Nomia Iqbal, who's following this story for us in Washington. And Nomia, just explain a little more of the background to this vote, first of all.
Well, yes, US lawmakers want to investigate what happened on January the 6th, and they believe that a lot of former aides of the then President Trump have questions to answer. One of them is Steve Bannon. He was a chief strategist for Mr. Trump, a close aide. He is now a talk show host, and the subpoena documents show that on the day before the riots, he had gone on air on his talk show to say, and I quote, "All hell will break loose tomorrow." The vice chair of this committee is a high-profile Republican named Liz Cheney. She's gone one step further to say that she believes that he likely formulated plans. And so they want him in front of this panel to answer questions about what he knew, what he saw, what he heard. He's refusing to comply. He says that communications with the former President Donald Trump are protected by a legal principle known as executive privilege. This is something that Donald Trump is trying to invoke, has tried to invoke, but the House doesn't buy it. They have said that Steve Bannon is hiding behind Mr. Trump, and so they will be voting to find him in contempt of Congress. It will go through because the Democrats control the House, and if he's prosecuted, this is a big if, Matthew, and if he's found guilty, again, another big if, he could face a fine and up to a year in jail.
And you alluded to it. I mean, you have this vote coming up that surrounds Steve Bannon, but of course that is all a prelude to the same fight that committee is going to have with the former president.
Yes, Donald Trump is trying to invoke executive privilege. Basically, he wants to keep his White House a secret. And he earlier this week sued the chair of the committee into January the 6th and also the head of the National Archives to basically block Congress from accessing any documents which show his communication up to the riots, during the riots. And it's a really interesting legal test, to be honest, because the question is his privilege valid? Constitutionally speaking, there's the line between the president's secrecy powers and Congress's authoritative investigation abilities is quite blurred, and there's not really any Supreme Court rulings which give us a sense of how that can go. And it's also worth bearing in mind that Donald Trump sues a lot, and his strategy is generally stonewalling, taking advantage of the slow pace of litigation and appeals to basically run down the clock. And if he runs down the clock to past 2022, which is a key year because of the midterm elections, then the Republicans, if they take back the House, they would just end this. And of course, even though he is no longer the president, he still has a huge hold over the Republican Party.
Yes, and as always, riddled with politics, all of this. Nomia Iqbal there in Washington. Thanks very much indeed. Thank you.